Just busyness. Like, it's just very, very busy when you're raising a child. And it's just a matter of like getting to all the places on time, how many activities they're involved in. It's very busy. And it starts to become freeing when they get their own vehicle. Like, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
my Saturdays are free again.
I am not a unpaid Uber driver.
Exactly. So it kind of builds up to it until they leave for college. It kind of
Yeah.
opens up little by little because they also want to hang out with their friends at their friends' place more often. You lose them a little bit at a time. I think God has that preparatory way of getting you ready for it. It's
Yeah.
not quite the same though.
Hey friends, welcome back to The Life Over 40, where we talk about real life, big changes, and everything in between. I'm your host, Jese Gary, and today we're talking about something a lot of us face for those of us that have families, and that's becoming an empty nester. So when your kids are ready to leave for college or just move out in general, it can feel like the house is too quiet, or you're kind of wondering what is that next chapter even for you. But it also can be a time to rediscover who you are and what you want to be up to in your life. So I'm super excited because I have a good friend of mine, Amy, and she's here with us today. And she recently became a empty nester when her son went off to college. And we're going to talk about what it's really like, the good, the tough, and everything in between. So this is just going to be a real candid conversation because I felt like a lot of you may be in this experience of life. So thank you so very much for being a yes, Amy.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So a little bit about you. How old is your son now?
My son will turn 21 in August, and he left the house when he was 17, so it's been about 3 or 4 years now. Next year will be his senior year of college.
Oh my goodness. How in the world?
It,
Like I feel this is this is how I feel horrible. Like it felt like he graduated last year
yeah,
because how fast time is going.
it goes by fast for sure. So yeah.
So with that though, I mean, even him now being 21,
hmm
it, did it feel as if that happened fast, or like how is it now saying like, oh my gosh, I have a 21-year-old or a
It
soon to be 21
it
year old.
feels like it happened overnight after high school graduation, but even high school flew by like really fast. I feel like it was freshman year, then senior year. It flew. But then I think COVID kind of happening right there in that in between time in high school made it fly by a little faster too.
No, I totally understand. I can see how it does go fast. Like one of the things about childhood, even when you're a kid, like think about even in his shoes. I remember what it was like. Like you're in this space of like, I can't wait till I'm a grown up. But I can only imagine, even as a parent, you're on this thought process like, I can't wait till like they're at this age because of their own independence. But I'm sure you also felt that other feeling like, oh my gosh, like they're now, like he's now 21. Has that ever been a dynamic for you?
Yes, because he's my only child, so there's lots of me that wants to still hang on to him and keep him my baby.
But even with that, like, do you feel that he still also has that connection? Because sometimes I've seen it where it's both the parent that's like, oh, I wish they were still the baby, but then also the kid, like the child might, or the adult,
He
young adult
very
is still that
independent.
way.
Oh, he's so independent. He doesn't, I mean, I think he enjoys being the baby in the sense that he comes home and, we dote on him and give him lots of attention, but he's so self-sufficient. He doesn't really look for it unless he's at home. Every once in a while, we'll get a I miss you call, but it's not very often. Most of the time, it's to his dad for advice, though.
So, like, that's interesting in the space of like, that's where he is. Do you feel like that was something he started to navigate through, even in like when he was still in the house of like this independence, even though he was still in the home?
Yeah, he's always like Even as a toddler, he's always been fiercely independent. But he does like his snuggles and hugs, but like any child did. But he's always wanted to do the things on his own.
Would you say is like it's almost like even how at some point y'all might have raised him too? It's like
Yeah, I think we did raise him to be self-reliant and self-sufficient for sure.
so now that he's a self-reliant like college student,
Hmm.
how are you coping with all of this?
We're very proud. That's one of the things that comes up a lot, but I think it gets quiet. And, you're so used to revolving all your activities, even your friendships are revolved around your child when you're raising them. So it's definitely a different dynamic because I think we also moved at the same time that he was becoming independent. So a lot of our friends are left in our old hometown, and it's harder to make friendships without or I mean, like those friendships used to come naturally because they're involved in activities, and then you become involved in those activities and meet those parents. So it's a little bit different. We're having to get outside of ourselves and reach out into the community. And my husband and I are reaching out a lot with our church community. That's one of
Mm.
the ways we found to cope. Um, I think at first I tried to take on too many activities. I
And you're
didn't
like, I need all the
feel that
time taken up.
lonely.
You're like, I don't want any free time at all.
Exactly. I'm like, I even got a second job, like just not to feel lonely, don't feel empty, don't have that downtime to I'm not a person who wants to process and take things on head on. So kind of a
You're like, let's avoid this. But no, but that's a real feeling. And I'm sure you sharing that, like, even though we can chuckle about it, I'm sure there's someone that's going to be listening that's going to feel the exact same way. Or they might do the counter opposite where they latch on. Like, I feel like my mom, when I started gaining more independence, like she latched on harder. Or like that's what it felt like. It wasn't like, let me take up activities. It's like, no, you are still my activity. And so it's that challenge. And with you finding new activities, do you feel as if that now you had this old time and like, yes, everything was pretty centered around him. Did you have to now explore even what kind of activities or like what even interests you? Because he was pretty much the center of what your schedule and your life was.
Oh yeah. So, I've taken on, there were some things that I knew I liked, like reading, so I took on a book club. But yeah, I'm like, we still kind of are in this holding pattern of not quite sure what to do on the weekends
Yeah.
because we're not sure what interests both of us. And also, funds aren't 100% there either. So it's kind of navigating that world of not wanting to cost too much for our hobbies, but then also taking time for ourselves.
And so, like, what are some of the hobbies, I guess, if you don't mind sharing, that you
Oh,
have
no problem.
decided to explore?
So I'm doing the book club. I've started at a gym. I'm doing water
Mm.
aerobics.
Oh, that's fun.
It is. I enjoyed it. I think I've taken on a national board certification, which is for teachers. That's a 3-year process that I've taken on 2 years ago. So I'm in my last year coming up. That's been tough. I mean, it's been worth it, but it's definitely a growing and stretching process.
That's great. I mean, that's fantastic that you're exploring. It's good that y'all are exploring like what your passions are, because I feel that that's sometimes where that whole quote unquote midlife crisis conversation comes in. It's because we've been spending, I don't have any children. I'm babysitting my little cousins, so I'm sure there's going to be a snippet of her that just came in. And it's like when you're with kids, a lot of your one of the things that I noticed, what was it, a couple of months ago, took them roller skating and it was cool. Like you're sitting there watching them to make sure that they don't break anything
Yeah.
or nothing happens. And it also had this epiphany where I was thinking, like, wow, a lot of what you're doing as a parent is you still have fun ish, but you're having fun through them. So it's now allowing this new section of your life to actually explore what's fun for you. So, to lean into, have you been taking the time to lean into what is fun for you? because a lot of what we do as parents or parent like figures is creating fun spaces and experience for the child, but then not always having the time to really see what's fun for us because we're in the space of midlife. That's where that midlife crisis, because people are like, I don't know myself. I don't know what I like. I don't know what I want to do because everything's been so child focused. Like, have you been allowing yourself to even explore what may not had existed when you were just only a, I don't want to say only a mom, but like
No, I
when
get what
he was more dependent?
I don't think I've really explored it well enough yet. I think I've been
Mm,
busy with work, trying to stay busy.
mm-hmm,
So I don't think I've allowed myself time to really explore my likes and dislikes without him. But it's 100% like getting your fun through them
mm-hmm,
is a great way to describe it because I even do that in my classroom. So I'm a teacher by trade, so I get so much enjoyment watching my kids play in my classroom and
mm.
the environment that I've provided for them. And watching them learn through that environment. The same thing as being a parent too.
Oh, the landmark side of me. And for people of y'all that don't know what Landmark Forum is, that's actually how we met. It's a transformational seminar. So what I'm curious about is with outside of, I know that right now you're studying for your exam.
Mhm.
What would help encourage you to be in the explorative space to even see what you actually find joyful?
I'm not sure on that right now. Think right now I'm really exploring with my husband and we're exploring together. And
Mm,
so I really want, right now I've felt like we've kind of drifted. And so I'm trying
okay.
to really get that bond with him and
Hmm.
find the things that we enjoy to do together. If that makes sense.
No, it makes plenty of sense. Like I have a family friend. Yeah, you pretty much like they're family, but family friendish. They have been together, I want to say maybe like 50, 60 years. Like they're high 70s, low 80s.
Uh-huh.
So like they've been together for a long time. Like their children are my age. So actually, no, they're older than me. So by a couple of years. And by career, he traveled a lot because of his career.
Mhm.
And I would safely say maybe about 75 to 80% of their marriage, he wasn't home
Yeah.
because of his work. I mean, like, yeah, they saw each other and things like that. He was in entertainment. So they saw each other, but he would be away or he was doing recruiting and things like that, and entertainment and sports. So he was gone a lot. He played a little bit in sports and then he transferred over to doing entertainment. So what I share this is because I remember when he retired and now he's home all the time. And I'm sitting at their house and we're just sitting and talking. It was a whole new adjustment for her because for most of their marriage, like if she put something somewhere, it wasn't getting touched. Now he's home and he don't have anything to do and he's touching everything. And she'd be like, why is he just like, why can't he just leave these things alone? She's like, she'll say like, things that matter to her were like acts of service,
Mhm.
and she's like, he's doing all these other things and all I need him to do is take out the trash. So like they had to redefine even what their marriage looked like now, being that many decades together, but then also having to coexist in the same space. So like even when we think of empty nesting, people often think about only from the child perspective, but not also thinking about the parents.
Oh yeah.
Like, how are y'all going to reconnect? Like, I literally, with watching the littles, I sit here and think, like, I can see one, how a lot of people can lose sight of themselves because you're just like, even in scheduling this conversation, I was like, okay, I got to go to daycare. I got to pick them up, make sure they're preoccupied. So then I can try to hopefully that they don't come into here. So then I can cook dinner, make sure they have snacks. Yeah. But I think that that's the part is this. And here's the thing is that as we quote unquote age, it's always things evolving. And what happens is out of like, I would say it's almost like a survival mechanism.
Mhm.
Like, because you're trying to keep the house together, you're trying to keep yourself together, you're trying to work, you're trying to keep the family together. There's all these dynamics. And the thing is that as we are evolving, the dependency or the interdependency that creates areas that we have to shift,
Yes.
inside of like, okay, now I don't need to worry about them sleeping through the night. Great, I can sleep through the night. So it's like you have all of these benchmarks that
Yes.
you're experiencing, but then you're having that with your child, but you're also having that with your spouse too, right?
Yeah, definitely. So
And so, like, go ahead.
the child has come to rely on you for certain things and come to rely on him for certain things, which takes up that dynamic in your life. And then all of a sudden, it's like that dynamic is free, and then you're not quite sure
Mm-hmm.
what to do with it. Either one of us. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so we're exploring that together, but it's a road. It's definitely a journey.
Yeah, I think my mom, she even had to do, because I'm the only child and she was single. And she was one of my first conversations I had to have with Landmark when I first did like the forum to have a breakthrough because I didn't feel as if she had a great adjustment to me being moved out because I mentioned like she definitely latched on to me more. So then it created this. I don't feel like it was necessarily a healthy interdependence, essentially, because I felt more like I was a spouse instead of allowing me to be the child, like all those different
Yeah.
things. And so we had to have conversations to make it clear, like to create a clearing. So one, I'm not acting as if like everything's okay by what I felt or received as smothering, because that's what I felt it as. I was like, oh my
Right.
goodness. Like as soon as we're around friends, you want to talk about the time when I was like 4 and I took all the kids from elementary school and I brought them to the daycare.
Yeah.
Like we're going down memory lane and I'm just like, but I'm a whole grown up right now. Like, why is this appropriate? this, like, why is this an appropriate conversation when I'm 30? And so we had to create this clearing. But one of the things that really helped her was that she also did therapy.
Hmm.
She did end up having to do therapy because she didn't want for her to put this unspoken or sometimes spoken pressure on me
That makes sense.
that ultimately was creating this buffer. Like I had to be honest, I'm like, we act like we're close, but we're not as close as we think because I'm automatically thinking like, okay, this has been 2 days and I'm like, I'm ready to go because you done said something, you done did something. And that's not fair. That's not the relationship that I truly desired to have with her. But I think the first step that she had to do with having, going through her own process of being an empty nester was really talking to a therapist to see how some of her life experiences were now showing up with her adjustment to, me not physically needing her as often.
I can imagine. Yeah.
That's something to kind of consider, huh?
Yeah, it is. Definitely.
So, like now that you're doing your certification,
Uh-huh.
was that something you always wanted to do? Or was that something that kind of came up now that you have the time and the space to be able to do that?
It kind of came up. I was looking at that and I was looking at a master's degree.
Mm.
And this was the more affordable of the two options.
You don't want another 5 figures of debt on top of his university.
Exactly. I just got out of debt for my bachelor.
But that's awesome. Like, so go ahead.
No, that's all I had to say about it. What were you going to say?
No, but with you getting your certification, like now
Mhm.
that you have this space, are you now like able to have the curiosity of how you want to develop your career now that you do have that? Or is it more or less just something that's been on your mind? So now that you have this open space in your calendar and just in life right now, are you now trying to take the time to explore where you want to go in your career or
It
what's
is.
your driving force?
That's one of the things I'm exploring is, well, I definitely want to be a pre-K teacher, but just how to be the best. That's something that's always driven me. I really like to get better every year and what's going to grow me as a teacher so that my students can grow. So that's something super important to me. I really actually feel that that's my calling from God is to be a teacher. And so that's
Oh,
why
I
it's
love
so.
that. But that's awesome because now you do have this space. Like you get to really lean into like what you feel called to? And I know that's something you truly love. Like,
Yes.
since I've known you, like teaching has been what you really do enjoy and love.
Yes.
And I feel from anyone that's listening right now is like when you're in the space now that you have open time, is kind of allowing yourself to think about like what are you really passionate about and how you can start to explore that more without having this mental timeline of thinking like, okay, the kid's going to be home.
Exactly. I can take more time to structure the environment. I've noticed I've given myself more time, but I also,
Mm.
it doesn't eat into home time because I really do try to get home by a certain time so that I still have that time with my husband as well.
That's great. And I think that that's encouraging for some people because I feel like when there are kids there and we're right, if it's one, two, three, or whatever, I feel that, and granted, anyone is listening, I do not have children. I just have little ones that of different family members that I kind of am the one that's that I'm babysitting. My mom had daycare center. So I'm just giving, third out party, I guess, oversight. And one of the things that I really became present to in the last couple of months is that I feel I can see how sometimes when, as a parent, you really are just trying to get from day to day. And it's almost like a survival. And I was like, I don't know if that's the right, you can say it or not, but it felt like when
It's
I'm,
just busyness
if it's survival.
for sure.
Yes.
Just busyness. Like it's just very, very busy when you're raising a child. And it's just a matter of like getting to all the places on time, how many activities they're involved in. It's very busy and it starts to become freeing when they get their own vehicle. Like you're like,
Oh, yeah.
my Saturdays are free again.
I am not a unpaid Uber driver.
Exactly. So it kind of builds up to it until they leave for college. Like it kind of
Yeah.
opens up little by little because they also want to hang out with their friends at their friends' place more often. You
Mm.
lose them a little bit at a time. I think God has that preparatory way of getting you ready for it. It's not
Yeah.
quite the same though. Like even now, like he has a full-time job. They've made him a supervisor, so he used to come home for holidays. Now we get like one or two of those holidays instead of that full holiday break like we used to.
Mm.
And so like it's even more like this last year is the first year that that's happened. So it's even more like an empty nest now.
So that's even shifting. All I hear is like different shifts. Because to be honest, like 3 years into empty nesting, I'm sure there are good moments and there are also sad moments that come along with it too, because it's still fresh. Just like, I would assume 1 to 5 when they're the years of zero, baby to 5 years old, toddler, it's like each stage, it requires this next shifting you. So it's still fresh for you to be adapting to being this empty nester.
Yes. And I think also he's had a long-term girlfriend that for the last two
Oh,
years, that's a new dynamic too, and so lots of
mm.
dynamics that you get used to as an empty nester. Well, all along the way, all along the whole lifespan, there's different milestones. So.
Do you ever reflect as to how you were, as because I think sometimes that can be almost encourage, I don't say encouraging, but like relatable. Because like even my siblings that are in their 20s, I'm like, "Oh, I don't hear from them. Can I take it personally? Probably. But for real, I didn't really make the effort,
Yeah.
because they're still like in your 20s, you're figuring things out yourself,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean that because I don't call my grandmother every week or I don't call my mom, every few days, it doesn't mean that I don't care for her. It's
Right.
because we're still trying to figure out life outside of them as well.
Ex-
Do you ever take the time to like look at it from that perspective as well?
I definitely do. I remember one of the things like when he doesn't call me for a while, one of the things I remember the most is my dad going calling me one day out of the blue and he's like, I have been waiting for you to call me and I just suppose you're just not ever going to call me, so I'm calling you now. So
Guilt trip.
I remember that conversation very clearly, so I don't take it personal like if I haven't heard from him in a while. you just get involved in life. Like that wasn't anything personal to my dad. I wasn't mad at him. I was just living life
Hmm.
as a 20-year-old. That's exactly what was going on. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it's even important for parents if you're about to get into get into this empty nester stage, or you might be a few years in, it really is just taking the time to show empathy, like
Yes.
really think like, how was I?
Oh, and I'll give you some advice for any new empty nesters is they lose track of time. So
Mm.
you'll get a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning. Nothing is wrong. They're just wanting to talk and they've lost track of what time it is.
I'll just give you a heart attack. Let me call
Yeah,
you at 2
exactly.
a.m. and made me think that something's
They've been
wrong and I have to
studying
drop.
all night and they have no idea what time it is.
But that's great advice. That
Yeah,
truly is great advice. And I guess since we're also on the advice track, for someone that is just new into this, not that you're an expert, but you've been going through your
yeah.
own process. Like for someone that like their child is about to go to college and this is their first year, or maybe they're a sophomore, what is one tip that you can give them to even just starting to explore what they may be passionate about outside of their child?
I think it's just going to take exploration. And I would say don't let yourself get too busy right at the beginning. Let yourself
Hmm.
enjoy that open time. Um,
Yeah.
and like reconnect with your spouse and see what y'all can do together. Because I feel like I delayed that a little bit by trying to get
Mm-hmm.
busy all at once. And so I feel like I should have kind of let myself fill the empty space for a while.
That is good because and I wonder because like what you just shared,
Mhm.
honestly, is not the first time I've heard that in some kind of capacity where instead of leaning more into the partner,
Mhm.
because now there's this open space, we lean into other things
Yeah.
like activities, or we're signing up for everything and anything to keep ourselves busy. And I'm kind of curious. I mean, you may not know this answer, but I'm curious as to why that might even exist. Maybe it's because like that's the mechanism of when the child is there that I don't know.
I think it's just trying to stay. I think we try to distract ourselves too
Hmm.
much sometimes, even as like a society, instead of just kind of sitting in the quiet,
Yeah.
listening, So I think being unbusy sometimes is actually a gift that we overlook.
Yeah. And giving yourself grace.
Yes.
Because like how you mentioned, like in the beginning, like you signed up for you're starting to
You
do
need
all these
all the
things.
grace for you.
Yeah. But but you know what just hit me as I was saying that is almost a way for grief.
It is. It is a grieving process. There is part of it that's a grieving process. I will say that 100%. And I didn't allow myself to grieve in the beginning,
Mm.
like taking a hold recently.
Yeah, no, like because I really never thought of it that way because I think of when someone loses someone, that's what they do. They're like, okay. Or like when I speak to someone about grief, they're like, how long does it take for you to get over losing your mom? I'm like, that's not how that
I
works.
know, it just hurts less, but it always hurts. Or maybe
Yeah.
it's just not as strong. I don't know. I lost my dad too, as you know, back in
Yes.
2010. So I'm just like, it doesn't ever go away. Yeah, you don't ever get over it.
Yeah, so it just looks different. You learn
It
how to
does.
adapt different. So that might even be the way to even see the process of now your child. Yeah, by number point. Yeah, they're adults.
You're
Like,
so happy for them. Like they make you so
yeah.
uber proud, but it is like just wanting that little boy back for just maybe even just a moment.
Mhm.
Like it's
Yeah.
just for a second.
No, I get that. And I appreciate you having this
Yeah, no
conversation with
problem.
me. And even as a friend, like I like if there's anything that I can even do with helping to keep you accountable or even explore, you
Of
know,
course.
I'm down I'm down for a travel or whatever,
Yeah.
or hobby, because a part of me even thought about getting into embroidery now. I don't know. I'm just like trying to find what I enjoy at this point in my life as well.
totally understand that.
But then I was like, but Jesse, then you can't sit here and think about turning it into a business. I'm like, just
Right.
embroider to embroider.
Right. Just have fun. Make it a hobby.
Let your hobby stay a hobby. Like,
Yeah.
you do not need another business. But then I'm like, so what am I going to do with all these swatches with embroidery on it? Like, I got to do something with it, right? Like, well, no, I truly, truly appreciate this conversation. I look forward to, like, if this interview has been impactful for you, or I think this might even be a start to conversation. Like, maybe it might even turn into like a cool, like, I don't know, community,
Yeah, that would be awesome.
and like have, like, I don't know, once a quarter, because we're not doing all the time, but
Yeah,
maybe like once a quarter brunches or
that would
spa
be
day or something like that. That'd be fun.
that would be fun. That would be for sure.
So, yes. So I appreciate this. Anyone that wants to continue this conversation with us, make sure you comment in the notes section or send me a DM or tag this episode. And I truly appreciate you for being a guest today, Amy.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I really had fun. Thank you.